Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo. I'm your host, Bo Willette, and it is May 29th. So So we are getting through May, and that means we're in June, and that means we're almost in the 7th month, July, of the year. So it's smoking by. I'm in my Magnum PI gear, ready to go in the devotion. Ran outside today, so if I seem a little hot, it's because I'm trying to cool down a little bit. Man, it's only, I don't know, maybe 85 out there. Yeah, 85, but it was a nice run. A few mile run out there, get a little sun and enjoy while you still got legs, right? That's kind of the attitude. You still got it, go do it. So as we get older, we kind of all know that it's not always going to be that way. So let's get out our Bibles and always remember, this is life, right? This is life, man. Open it up, and God, the words of life. So awesome. So we're in 47 of the book of Isaiah. Let's get right into it and see kind of what it says. So what's happening, Paula? Hope you're doing good. I hope the calm music is just blessing you. It sounds like it is. That's awesome. You say, hey, have a blessed day. Calm music is good today. Amen. Totally. So Isaiah 47, it starts off like this. And it says, "Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust." Okay, so we had chapter 46 talking about Babylon's idols, named a couple, and talked about the foolishness of idol worship. And I know that seems kind of maybe ancient today, like, oh, we don't do that, but we do. We still worship pleasure. We still worship power. We still worship, things. And they did too. And they assigned maybe a deity to it. And we tend to, in a sense, in our atheism, do the same thing. And so now it looks like it's focusing on kind of the fall of Babylon. So it says, "Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon." And this has already, by the way, been talked about with this guy Cyrus coming in and remember breaking down the bronze iron bars and all that. That was in 45. "Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust." So it seems like virgin daughter seems like young person, right? "Sit in the dust, for your days of sitting on a throne have ended. O daughter of Babylon, never again will you be. The lovely princes, tender and delicate, take heavy milestones and grind flour," meaning they have to start working. And it says, "Remove your veil and strip off your robe, expose yourself to public view. You will be naked and burdened with shame." So that which was, in a sense, private will be exposed. Ooh, such a scary thought, that everything will be exposed. But notice it's talking about the humbling of the empire of Babylon, that they will be humbled at some point. And that's what we always have to remember. Sometimes, us kind of just normal folk, if you will, sometimes we think like, oh, we watch things on, our Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and we see people living luxurious, and sometimes we can get envious. And that's something we have to really guard against, because everybody's going to be brought low, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter where you live, no matter, and it's like, we see that. We have a president that is really old, of the highest power, right? Probably of the world. And yet he's a very elderly man, right? Who struggles in many ways, obviously. And, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, you cannot conquer, right, this thing called death. It gets you, and our bodies, man, they really rebel from being healthy all the time. And so we always have to keep that in mind. I'm sure the virgin daughters of Babylon, those ones that were veiled, those ones that were living in the high palaces, the places of the empire that were the untouchable places. They were so beautiful, and you think beauty is today exemplified or is promoted. Man, the beauty treatments they had back then, the length of beauty schools was incredible, right? You just read the book of Esther, and you get an idea that these young women were really, really treated to a spa, like in the spa treatment thing, and I'm not a good pro at that stuff. That's not my world at all. But gosh, a year, 2 years, what are you, in the beauty school and the getting beauty treatments? That's pretty radical. But it says even you, right? Even you, you're gonna have to grind flour. You will be exposed. You're not going to have the coverings that you once had. And it says, and God says, I will take vengeance against you without pity. Whew. When God upholds his righteousness, if you want justice from God and you want righteousness from God, I heard a scientist on, a real famous scientist, right? Evolutionary scientist, atheistic guy, talk about how if there's a God, why is there injustice in the world? Yeah, you want God to be just, you want God to uphold righteousness. Do you know what you're asking? God will judge. Okay, the court will be open, and everybody can have their day in a moment with the Creator, and righteousness will reign. Because if righteousness doesn't reign, then obviously that's not perfect. That's not God. So righteousness is going to have to be upheld, and that means you're all, me too, are going to be judged and found guilty. And then are going to have to be separated. That's the idea of death, separated from the deity, from God. Yeah, that's the idea. So, man, without pity, that is a tough statement. God is going to judge you. No pity. Our Redeemer, whose name is Yahweh. So who's the Redeemer in the Bible? Yahweh. It's interesting. Jesus, right, has come to redeem. So again, Jesus claims to be this person. He says, the Lord of heaven's armies is the Holy One of Israel. So you can't get that any more clear right there, that the Redeemer is the Lord, is Yahweh. O beautiful Babylon, sit now in darkness and silence. Never again will you be known as the Queen of Kingdoms. That amazing place. For I was angry with my chosen people and punished them by letting them fall into your hands. Okay, so he explains why Israel was, in a sense, punished as a child is punished by Babylon. It says, my chosen people, right? I was angry with them. So you can see this relationship between Israel and God being related to kind of a family life, family, relationships. So very cool. I think of Los Angeles too, by the way. And the city of angels, right? I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? At least I got that place, right? Under the bridge downtown is where I drew some blood. The idea of, this is his hometown, Los Angeles, the city of angels, right? When the Chili Peppers sang that, it's true, man. That's their place. That's their hometown. I mean, I grew up watching them, and they played in little places. And to see that city of angels now, to see that place that was once so cool, so many cool things about it, now you walk through it and you can't even really walk through it, right? It's really, man, sometimes unrecognizable. And it says, but you, Babylon, showed them no mercy, meaning when I punished Israel, you showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly. You said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. People will come against Israel, and they will come against the most vulnerable. They will do the most vile things to Israel, to the most, in a sense, vulnerable of their people. Elderly, babies, right? those that are weak. Has that happened in our day? Yeah, just in our last months. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? The human condition, we want to expose someone's vulnerability and then attack it, right? What can I get? How can I get at them? What can I expose? And then you go at it. How many marriages are destroyed because you know the vulnerability of your spouse, and yet instead of helping them and loving them and praying for them, you attack it all the time. You expose it in the sense of, to spite them, to get at them. It's rough. You said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences. Oh, a nation has consequences. Man, I think of our nation too, but not just our nation, but all the nations. Our nation has allowed abortion forever, right? Yeah, for a long time now. I shouldn't say forever, but a long time. But abortions have been going on in the world forever, right? All over. Different nations, all kinds of nations, all kinds of ethnicity groups, right? All over the planet. And there's consequences to all that. Yeah, the wages of sin is death. Everybody dies because everybody has sinned. Yeah, different sins, different kinds of sins, but all from maybe stemming from similar things, right? Greed, envy, jealousy, lust, and the greatest of them, pride, right? Which maybe all the others stem from. It says, listen to this, you pleasure-loving kingdom, living at ease and feeling secure. You say, I am the only one, and there is no other. I will never be a widow or lose my children. This is the fallacy of nations, is that they think when they're in power that they will remain in power. They don't think that one day it's just going to come to an end. It might be a slow decay, but you know what? There's always another. Yeah. There's always another. It's not always going to be like this. To think it is unscientific for sure. It's just not based on empirical evidence. What is very much true and based on just historical, looking at things, is that things will change. And you know that, and I know that. Our families change, life changes, everything, our bodies change. Seems like everything's in flux. But man, sometimes our pride won't let us see that. And it says, well, both of these things will come upon you in a moment, right? It says, widowed and the loss of your children. Yes, these calamities will come upon you despite all your witchcraft and magic. Meaning you can do anything you want to do, man. You can do all your magic, right? All your connotations, all your, conjuring up things, right? And isn't our world just full of magic, right? And, do I go in those magic ways, where I think there's some kind of formula or there's some kind of thing or some kind of magic pill or some kind of this. And if I just do that, that's going to make me live forever. It's just not the case, right? So like this morning, I definitely got to settle my heart on the idea of change, right? That change is going to happen. And I just have to remember that. And that God's overcome the greatest issue in our life, and that is the issue of death. And then to really look at my life and go, God, am I like Babylon? Do I get caught up in this prideful condition? And even this hateful condition of where I exploit vulnerable people. And says, you felt secure in your wickedness. That's verse 10. No one sees, you said, but your wisdom and knowledge have led you astray. And you said, I am the only one, and there is no other. And so disaster will overtake you, and you won't be able to charm it away. Calamity will fall upon you, and you won't be able to buy your way out. Now, it's going to happen through the hands of Cyrus, that guy who was named in 44 and 45. It says a catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you were not prepared. Now remember, this is God's evidence for his existence over the idols of Babylon, that he foretells the future. Not just the future, but their future. That's pretty radical. Remember how the Assyrians, or Sennacherib, had this letter to Hezekiah, the king of Judea, saying, hey, man, our gods are better than your God. You know, our gods have wiped out all the other nations' gods, and we're going to wipe you out too. You know, and this is God's defense of saying, hey, I'm going to deal with Assyria, I'm going to deal with Babylon, I'm going to deal with the Medo-Persian Empire, and he foretells these things so that people know that this is the true and the living God, the everlasting God, the creator of all the earth, his name Yahweh. That idea. We think it's Yahweh, by the way. We just put in the vowels because there's only consonants, I should say, in the original. Or we don't have the original, the manuscripts. So it says, now you use these magical charms in verse 12, and it says, maybe they will do you some good. Maybe they can make someone afraid of you. All the advice you receive has made you tired. Where are all your astrologers, your stargazers, and those who make predictions each month? So they had a group of people that seemed to be religious, and that were religious probably, very much tapped in, but yet nothing really was true. They really couldn't predict the future at all. You know, maybe we're trusting in people that really just don't have it themselves, right? Maybe they're a lot like you and a lot like me, more like you and like me than we would, think of. And it says, but they are like straw burning in a fire. They cannot save themselves from the flame. See, they're a lot like us. They will not help you at all. Their hearth is no place to sit for warmth. And all your friends, those whom you have done business since childhood, will go their own ways, turning a deaf ear to your cries. All those friends you've had once, they'll just leave you, right? Yeah, when you're when you're going through difficulty, who's going to be there for you, kind of thing. It's always good to have, friends that really are friends. Really people who can stick by you, when the chips are down. Babylon seemed to have lost its way. Like most nations, it gets caught up in its own power, its own position in the world, its own striving to gain, always striving to gain. And we too is kind of, that's what we do. We always are striving to gain more and more, instead of maybe just learning how to be, how to be in flux, how to be ready for change, how to be at peace in our heart, how to have serenity in our heart, things like that. Maybe we concentrate on the wrong things. And then it really shows by the end of our life, because we just don't have people maybe around us, friends. We haven't really been that friendly. Instead, we've exploited people and used people, and that kind of thing. Not good. A very cool chapter, though. A lot of good things to think about, when you think about the judgment of Babylon. The way it's put is very cool because it very much mimics our own life in a lot of ways, in the sense of some of our own defects. Those things like pride, and those things like using people and getting back at people and spitefully having a resentment towards them, and oh man, I hope they get theirs, and they're that idea. That's got to be put to rest in your heart. You have to bring that to the Lord and say, God, forgive me, help me to repent of that kind of sin. That is a sin of envy and of striving, and that is not good. Jealousy, all kinds of things that are in that heart, and that'll just eat you alive. So Babylon just became more proud. They couldn't see their own yuck, and therefore their compassion went out the window. And God says, you know what? I used you to judge my people, but you, man, had no mercy. I mean, you took it to them. Pretty radical. So, hey, a good chapter, Isaiah 47 in the books. We're getting really close to the 50s. That'll be some good stuff for sure. talk to you guys soon, okay? Have a great one. Tina, good to have you. Patty, good to have you. And we'll hopefully see you all soon. Bye-bye.